has some methods or find many ways to save us from the communists. We don't want to stay here anyway.
But do you know that all the Americans are gone?
Yes, I know that, but I must come in case, just in case.
But there's no way because all the helicopters are gone.
Can you help us?
There is no way I can help because we are staying here. This is now what is left of the American involvement in Vietnam. The U.S. embassy behind me has been completely looted. The South Vietnamese obviously are angry at the American withdrawal. Many of them have said that they were left out in the evacuation. They were unable to make the helicopters. Many of them were American employees. They have had to stay, and they will now have to stay and cope with communism in South Vietnam.
My name is Bridget Fetterspiel. I currently work for Dayton Public Schools. I teach at Stiver School for the Arts. I teach world history, American history, and AP US history. In 2005, I was finishing up grad school at Wright State, and I needed one more credit, and so my professor, Dr. Margie McCullen, suggested that I do an oral history interview. Library of Congress had started a project back in 2000 about trying to collect all the interviews of local veterans across the country. And she thought it would be a good tie to my major in history. So I located a man in Xenia, Albert Parker, who served in 3 different conflicts, World War II, Korea, and 3 tours in Vietnam. And I interviewed him. And while interviewing him, I realized this would be a great project for my students to experience because I teach inner city, and storytelling is a component of social economic challenged families because you may not be able to afford to do a lot of things, but you can always sit around and tell stories. And so in 2005, I started the Veterans History Project at Stivers, and we collected 50 interviews. The kids went home and talked to their parents, their grandparents, their brothers. We located veterans at VFWs, just everywhere. And our focus was really on World War II because of the age and the time. The project's continued since 2005. We've interviewed every year. I made the jump to teaching at Wright State with veterans being taught how to interview other veterans as a method of healing. So 2005, we're on our 14th year of doing interviews. The World War II guys are disappearing, and so we've shifted to Vietnam and Korea, always interviewing anyone who's available. So it just developed into this, amazingly, this 2005 event developed into this vocation to honor our veterans, whether it's, the Valentine's for Vets activity we do, or the different World War II celebrations we've had for September 2nd or the end of World War II, just everything's tied to it. The Fulbright that I applied to was a Fulbright Distinguished Award in Teaching. And there were, I think, 12 or 13 countries that you could choose to target your project. You had to create an inquiry project, like research project that you were going to have to go to this country to learn and then bring it back to your school. And when I looked into the Fulbright, I thought that Vietnam would tie into it really well because of my work with veterans. when we teach the Vietnam War, we stop in 1975. I've talked to numerous teachers, and nobody talks about Vietnam after 1975. And when you talk to the average adult who knows a little bit about history, when you say Vietnam, they think of the war. And so my inquiry project is to create a video showing how Vietnam has moved past the war. I was explaining it today to a woman that I ran into, and you know, when we teach World War II, we don't stop and then make our students think that all Germans are Nazis and all Japanese are kamikaze pilots. You know, we show them how Germany is today. We show what Japan has evolved into today. Even Korea. We talked about the difference between the North and the South. So I'm sending, and I'm guilty of this too, our students out with this untruthful view of Vietnam. And so my inquiry project was accepted. I'm the only teacher out of 38 selected out of a pool of 1,000 who will be going to Vietnam. And since I received the award, I've kind of evolved the project into tying the veterans' voices, the veterans' stories to the Vietnam story.